Oh, something is munching on this bean plant. It's a weird pattern. What does this? Well, I didn't find the culprit of what's eating these leaves like that, but I did find a bunch of aphids hiding underneath the leaves. And of course, there's ants farming them as well. Again, I'm just gonna wash them off with water or something. I did spray yesterday. I don't think I sprayed the underside of those leaves very well. Sometimes it's hard to get on the underside of the leaves with the sprayer, so it probably didn't get to them, so they just weren't even affected. Interesting. The plant's still growing really well though. This aphid's probably aren't even gonna do that much to them, but I am gonna wash them off. I don't want to let them get out of control. But the other beans are still growing well. And over here in the beds, where we transplanted in the cabbage and the lettuce and the onions and the carrots, I mean, some of the things are still here, and I think they're still growing. The cabbage, there's a few cabbages actually that are doing pretty well. And the lettuce, I think, is still growing. The onions, I'm not sure if they're gonna make it. I'm gonna do a whole nother round of onions though, because I found a video from the old Alabama gardener where he, in detail, gives every single step that he took to grow onions one year, and like on the dates that he planted and the transplanted, everything. So I'm gonna actually just try to go by that video and just do exactly what he did and see what happens. But yeah, some of the cabbage over here is okay, and growing actually. So maybe we'll get something over here. And there's actually a squash growing on the squash plant, which this squash plant isn't looking very good. So I'm surprised that there's a squash growing there. And there are blooms all over the cucumber plants. Female and male blooms. So maybe I'll get some cucumbers pretty soon, which is surprising. If that happens. How fast those grew is pretty impressive. So this is what I don't want. It's like a sucker coming off of the main stem of the cucumber plant, where it's gonna grow a whole nother branch to where there'll be more leaves coming off this, but also sending out tendrils. So this is reaching for something here, but I want just one main stem. So I'm actually going to cut this off, even though there already is a female blossom. I think it's the female, the one that actually has the cucumber on it. But I want the plant to just focus on the main stem. So I'm actually going to cut this off, and then any other suckers that I see, which I know there's at least one more. Okay, so this branch here, as you can see, it's coming off, and it isn't just forming one leaf like this one. It's forming a whole nother branch off for a leaf, and there's a cucumber forming here and more tendrils. So I know that this is like a whole nother branch trying to form. And I don't want that because I have so many plants, cucumber plants right here. Like, I just want it to be as clean and organized as possible so that they don't start overlapping a whole lot and creating shade, which is, it just is gonna, if the leaves all start touching each other and everything, it's just gonna create problems. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this leaf off as well because it's dying anyway. And cut this little dude off here. Okay, and I think there's another branch forming somewhere right here in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. This guy same thing, cutting off leaves that are dying. And then I'm gonna look for, so here's another, here's the one little sucker right here. And I know that because it has a tendril coming off of it and it's trying to form like multiple leaves. Whereas all these just form one leaf. And those are the ones we want. I don't want this extra branch coming off. I want it to focus on producing the fruit that it has on the main stem. These two plants are really close together over here. That's okay if as long as I keep them organized and I keep cutting off the sucker. This one's good. And last cucumber plant. Just gonna see if there's any suckers coming off of it. See a little tiny one down here. Get rid of it. Cut this leaf off. It's dying. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this leaf off too. I just want to leave like at least like a foot at the bottom with no leaves. Okay, he's good too. Yeah, there's just blooms all over these things, which is good. Hopefully we'll have lots of cucumbers soon. I'm excited to try these. These are Chicago pickling. Definitely never had that kind, so. The okra is definitely on its last leg, definitely slowing down a whole lot, but still producing a few every day. But overall, I'm really happy with the okra this year. I think it did really well. I mean, there were lots of days where I harvested 10 or 11 okra, which is good. I would like to do even more plants next year, though. Actually, I want to do probably about twice as much. And I would like to keep fermenting, trying to get my fermenting recipe down so that I can actually really enjoy it rather than just like, sort of like it. Okay, so yesterday the temperature of the second compost heap was just over 160, and I just didn't feel like doing anything yesterday because I was just resting, so I didn't turn it even though it was at 160 or a little bit over 160. So today I definitely need to turn it because I'm sure it's either the same temperature or even higher. So I'm about to check. The heap number 1 is like, what was it? Like 110 or something? I forgot. But heap number 2, yes, is over 160. It's like 162 or 163, which, you know, is probably okay. But definitely want to turn it. I don't want it to stay that hot for longer than a day or so. So time to get to work. Well, how many? It was 112 scoopfuls from the pitchfork. Last time, was that Friday that I did that? Yeah. Yes, Friday. So today's Monday. So it's been 3 days. Let's see if it's I don't know if I'm gonna count, but maybe I will. All right, now that this pile is done, well, not done, but I'm done pulling it out. Thoughts on the condition of it? First of all, I think it looks and smells much better than it did on Friday. There's more of a manure smell now, and there wasn't really a manure smell at all on Friday. And I think that's a good thing. The smell on Friday was much more toxic smelling. I don't really think it's that toxic, but manure is a much better smell. I think it means that there's probably a better ratio of browns to greens. I'm not exactly sure if it means that, but there certainly is a better ratio of browns to greens because I added like or a whole big bin of wood chips. I think that I could actually use even some more wood chips, and I'm gonna do that next time, but I'm gonna let this one just go like it is. Number one, because I don't want to add more material that's gonna have to break down. But number two, because I think it's okay. I think that since it looks a lot better than it does Friday, and it smells a lot better, I'm gonna take that as a sign that I should just roll with it as it is, and hopefully it'll all end up really good. And then the next heap that I do, I'll add even more wood chips to and see how that does. And if I like it better, then I'll know that I need to go with more rather than less. I think that there might still be some bits at the bottom in the back corners that are going anaerobic. But I don't really know what to do about that at this point. I'm just gonna kind of let it go and see what happens. I think next time adding more wood chips will help that, but I'm not really positive. So it is what it is, and I'm gonna get it all back in now. I forgot to film it, but I did just put a whole watering can's worth of water on the heap, and now I will put it back into its bin, and then I'll add more water as I go, as I think it's needed. $94 pitchfork scoops this time. So it was 112 on Friday, 94 this time, and actually much easier this time too. Not just because it was less scoops, but because the material is actually much less clumped together. And I don't know what to attribute that to except for the wood chips helping prevent those pieces of grass from matting together. It's weird because it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of wood chips in there. But maybe it's doing something, I don't know. The real way that I'm gonna know for sure is in the next heap when I do even more wood chips, if it's even easier to move because there's less clumps and stuff, then that'll be, or maybe I'm just getting better at it. Or maybe my body's just in better shape. I mean, that's probably true from moving all the wood chips, but. Okay, I'm actually gonna go ahead and pull out heap number one. I'm hoping that I just have to do the heap number one a few more times and then it'll be pretty much ready to use. In fact, I think on the 14th is when I'm gonna plant some some onion seeds. And I think I might try to use some of the compost from heap number one to do that. I don't know if I'm able to use all of it. I might mix it with the potting mix or something and we'll just see. And this pile is looking pretty good, and it smells like a forest floor, sort of, which is what it's supposed to smell like. There's still lots of pieces of stuff that isn't broken down, lots of twigs and stuff, but that's fine. I don't think that is too big of an issue. I definitely do think it is still breaking stuff down, so I'm gonna continue to flip it. But I do think I'm gonna try to use a little bit of it on the 14th when I plant the onions. There it is, that is done. Both heaps pulled out and back in. Both heaps flipped. Really not that difficult. I think I'm just getting in better shape. Actually, it's a little bit cooler today. feels almost a little like fall's almost here, and I'm in the shade back here, so it wasn't really that bad. As you saw, the heap number 2 is already up to 120. I think when I first put the thermometer in after I finished putting it back in, it was only like 100. So it's already heated up 20 degrees. So I expect that to be up to 160 again tomorrow for sure. And the heap number 1, I was doing some research earlier, trying to figure out what temperature a compost pile is when it's complete. And I couldn't find anything easily. I'm sure I can, when I go inside and at my computer, I can probably actually figure it out, but I think I'm just gonna go by if it doesn't heat up anymore. So whatever temperature right now, I think it's like 100 degrees right now. But I don't know if that's normal. Shouldn't it just be like ambient temperature? I mean, it's like what, 85 degrees out here right now, so shouldn't it be around 85 degrees? I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out so that I know for sure when this is done. But either way, in a week on the 14th, I'm gonna use some of it to start some of the onions. It is now late afternoon. In the spirit of Labor Day, I went and did some light resting, as in looking at the back of my eyelids. I actually didn't mean to fall asleep. I took a little nap, and then I actually did some other work I needed to do inside, and now I'm out to water the plants because it didn't rain or anything today. Just want to make sure everything is hydrated. Tomorrow I'll come out and get some other stuff done. While I'm out here, I guess I want to see the temperature of the heap number 2. How much it's gone up. So it was 120 earlier. Let's see how hot it is now. So just a few degrees. It's like 123 now. Be interested to see what it is tomorrow.